What is going on, guys? In this video, we are going to be walking you through the pros and the cons of living in Chandler, Arizona. Now, there are a ton of pros and benefits of living down here in Chandler. However, there are some cons that you should think about before making Chandler, Arizona your permanent home. So without further ado, let's get into it right now. If this is your first time visiting the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about moving to Phoenix, Arizona and living here full time, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Tap the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on new content. And most importantly, guys, I want you to comment down below. I want to know your thoughts about what you think of this specific video. That will help me make content that you are looking for in the future. And my name is Eric, and I work with eXp Realty as a licensed real estate agent down here in the Phoenix Metro. And we get calls and texts from people like you every single day that are thinking about making their move to the Phoenix, Arizona area. So if that is you and you're thinking about moving, in 7 days, 7 months, or even 7 years, feel free to reach out and we'll help get you started and make your transition to Phoenix as smooth as possible. Now, Chandler, Arizona is one of the most popular suburbs in all of Phoenix, and it's no surprise of how much appreciation they've had over the last couple years and just how many people are moving here and want to be here in Chandler. And just a little history about Chandler. It all started about 20 to 25 years ago. Intel moved a huge office down here, and it brought all kinds of tech jobs and engineering. And ever since then, the price of homes down here in Chandler absolutely skyrocketed. So that is, one thing to think about. And honestly, that will transition us perfectly into our first negative thing about, living down here in Chandler is it is a higher cost of living. Now, when I say cost of living, everything else is relatively moderate, gas, groceries, that's really not too bad compared to the national average. However, home prices, that's gonna be the biggest kicker of why it is so expensive to live down here in Chandler. The average home sale, single family home, not condos or townhomes, the average single family home down here is about $570,000. So, and that will just get you into, just a starter. It's an average level home. And the neighborhood that I'm walking around in right now is in about the $700 to $900 range. So this is definitely more of what you see in Chandler, and that is definitely one of the biggest reasons why people avoid moving here is just how expensive the homes are. If you're looking for more affordable homes outside of Chandler, the next door neighbor of Gilbert or in the northeast corner of Mesa are definitely some better options that I suggest that you take a look at. Now, on the positive side, one of the best parts about Chandler and a huge pro of living here is where it is located in the valley. Now, it is right in between two major highways, and it's right next to two other major highways. So you are right off of the 101 and the 202. Now, the 101 goes straight up north and you can get into Old Town. You can take that all the way up in the northwest into Peoria. So it's such an easy avenue if you need to get into Old Town Scottsdale, or you like going to downtown Tempe or downtown Phoenix. It's a great avenue because it's right through the heart of Chandler. And the other major highway that runs right through Chandler is the 202. Now, the 202, about 10 to 15 years ago, they built the 202 around South Mountain. And what that really did is that really opened up of why Chandler is such a good spot to live, because you can connect from the East Valley all the way to the west through that 202 loop. So it really put Chandler right in the heart. It is further south, but it did put it right in the heart of the entire city because you can get anywhere in about 20 to 25 minutes. So that is one of the biggest parts about living in Chandler is the location. Now, we did talk a little bit about the roads here, but it is just one of the huge positives that you absolutely have to address is just how close you are again to the major highways. You got Interstate 10 right next to you as well. And it's just so easy to get around down here because of how well the city is planned. Everything is on, grid construction. So everything it's a mile by mile. So it's super easy to get around. The street names they will confuse you. I moved here we lived in Central Phoenix where it's numbers going north and south and names going east and west. Down here in the East Valley, it's names and names. So it can be a little bit confusing, but for the most part, the roads down here are some of the best in the entire country. My sister-in-law, actually, she is a constructional engineer, and she said the funding that Arizona gets for their public roads is astonishing. So they're all really good roads here. They're very smooth, and overall, the transportation here in Chandler, Arizona is spectacular. Now, one of the bad things about living here in Chandler is there really isn't a lot of public transportation. They do have buses that run periodically, But if you're coming from, you know, the Northeast or, you know, Chicago, where you're used to, you know, trains and buses and everything for public transportation, that is not going to be the case here in Chandler. You need to have a car. Everything, and that pretty much goes for the entire valley, but specifically here in Chandler, just because of how spread out everything is. So if you are moving to Chandler, you are going to need a vehicle. Most Americans, that's not a problem. But again, if you're moving here from the Northeast or Chicago or any of those cities that rely on public transportation, you're going to have to invest in a car, unfortunately, if you want to live here in Chandler. Now, truly, one of the best things Chandler has to offer is, according to niche.com, is how well the schools are rated down here and how low the crime rates are. You guys will be astonished about how good of schools are located here in Chandler, and that's the public school system. And Arizona as a whole is ranked a little bit lower than, you know, most states, and you guys can find out that information on yourselves. But overall, Chandler and Gilbert have some of the best schools that you can get down here in the valley. And again, that's according to niche.com, so it's up to interpretation what you think. The nice thing too with being down here in Chandler, there's a ton of private schools, there's a ton of charter schools, so there's all kinds of public schooling options that are some of the best in the entire valley. So if that is something that is very important to you, do whatever you can to try to get into these Chandler districts, because again, they are some of the best that Arizona has to offer. Now, we talked a little bit about the cost of living down here in Chandler, and that it is a con because of how much higher it is. But one thing that you have to know if you're moving to Chandler is almost every single house down here is gonna have an HOA fee. Now, to some people that's not a big deal, but to others, they don't wanna be told, you know, especially out here in the wild west of Arizona, right? They don't wanna be told what to do. They don't wanna be told how to paint their house or what they can do with their property. So if you're moving to Chandler, Arizona, currently today there's about 400 houses that are available, and 350 of them have an HOA of some sort. So if you're moving here, just be prepared that you are going to have to pay, you know, for an HOA. Now, I will say Chandler, the nice thing is that a lot of the houses in the northern part, that's kind of the older part of town. You know, a lot of houses there are built in the 1970s, 1980s, but all the new, and those don't really have HOAs, but a lot of the houses down in the south part, you know, south of the Highway 202, almost every single house down here is gonna have an HOA at some level. Now, I think the nice thing about having these is that you get really good public amenities, right? So you get community pools, and that's nice because you don't wanna, maintaining a pool down here is expensive, so one less cost that you have to have. So you got, you know, a bunch of parks and playgrounds and volleyball courts, basketball courts, walking and biking trails. So that is really one of the better things that they have, but just be aware that most homes down here in Chandler have an HOA. And finally, the last, one of the best things that Chandler has to offer is the entertainment and all the activities that you can do down here. You're close to South Mountain, so you have all kinds of hiking, you know, mountain biking, all kinds of outdoor activities. You have Wild Horse Pass, which is just outside of Chandler in native land, and they have, you know, outlet malls, they have incredible golfing, casino, you can ride horses out there. Phoenix Rising, they're a semi-professional soccer team. They have all kinds of different entertainment options down here in Chandler. And Chandler also has a really, really cool old school downtown area. It's got tiny little shops and really, really good restaurants. So I definitely suggest that you go check out those. Now, for golf courses, you guys know I love to golf. They do have quality golf courses. They are kind of expensive compared to other areas of the valley. So you got, you know, Ocotillo and the two out at Wild Horse Pass. Those definitely, like, you're gonna run in the mid 100s in the wintertime if you're looking to golf. But the good thing is that Chandler has a couple other city and publicly owned courses. So you got Lone Tree, you have Bear Creek, and you have San Marcos. So there are more affordable options, but definitely in the summer it gets better. So entertainment galore down here in Chandler. You will never ever be bored down here. And really one of the nice things too is that you don't really ever have to leave Chandler. So we have amazing shopping down here. You have all kinds of entertainment, and Chandler really does have it all. So if you're looking to make a move, I cannot suggest Chandler, Arizona enough. All right, guys, that wraps up my pros and cons for living in Chandler, Arizona. Again, I want you to comment down below. What did I miss? What are some of the things that you like about living in Chandler, Arizona, or what are the things that you don't like? Or what have you read online or heard from, you know, friends or family that I did not mention in this video? So again, my goal is to create content and that really helps your transition to move to Chandler or the greater Phoenix metro. So again, if you're thinking about making a move, feel free to call me, send me a text, or reach me by email. I'm happy to be a resource and answer any questions that you may have about making your move to the beautiful and sunny Phoenix, Arizona. So that's it for this video, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.